I want to thank the chairman, I want to thank Eric, I want to thank the judge for your very kind words and for your service to this community. Thank all three of you. Real quick, I want to thank the volunteers in the vests who made this event possible. Thank you. And thank you to all of you who showed up here with very short notice. It means the world to have this kind of support. When we launched this campaign in the United States Senate in my hometown of Round Rock, Texas, 2 weeks ago, and the response has been overwhelming. We started out that first day of the campaign with $0 in our Senate campaign account. But in just the first 12 hours, thousands of Texans from all over the state giving $5, $10, $15 raised more than $1 million. The billionaire mega donors who've taken over our politics, but this is an incredible start. And what makes me even happier is that more than 4,000 Texans have gone to our website and signed up to volunteer, to knock doors, to make phone calls, to send text messages. And I hope each one of you will do the same when you go home if you haven't already. Thousands of Texans have showed up to rally with us in Round Rock, in San Antonio, in Fort Bend, in Houston, in Dallas, in Deep Red, Longview, Texas, and Victoria, Texas. And last night in Brownsville, and now today in McAllen. It's not just campaign events. A few days ago, I joined the picket line in downtown Houston with striking hotel workers who are demanding better wages and better working conditions. And then a few days after that, I visited Pine Tree High School in rural East Texas, where I judged the cookie bake-off. Between their culinary students, I ate 12 cookies in a row, and I have no regrets. That's because this campaign is truly of, by, and for the people. 8 years ago, I launched my very first campaign for the Texas House of Representatives back home in Williamson County. And back then, I was told the race was unwinnable. I was told flipping a Trump district was impossible. I was told I was too young. I was told I didn't have the money or the political connections to win. I was the underdog in that race. But my neighbors and I ran an aggressive, authentic, unorthodox campaign that brought people together. And on election night, we flipped that district with 51%. Once again, in this race, both in the primary and in the general. But my life has shown me always bet on the underdog. Before I was a politician, I was a public school teacher. I taught 6th grade language arts at Rhodes Middle School on the west side of San Antonio.
Yeah!
And I often say teaching middle school is the best preparation for politics. If you want a leader who can be both tough and compassionate, hire a middle school teacher. The west side of San Antonio is a beautiful, historic Mexican-American neighborhood. It's also one of the poorest zip codes in the entire state of Texas. So every day, my students struggled heroically to overcome poverty, overcome racism, overcome systems that were designed to hold them back. My students weren't just kids, they were survivors, dreamers, fighters. I saw it in their eyes, this unshakable resolve, this unconquered spirit. Growing up, I saw that same fight in my mother, a preacher's daughter from Laredo, who left home at 19. She moved up to Austin, the big city, and she met my birth father, a 21-year-old high school dropout whose drinking problem sometimes led to violence. One night, he became abusive again. But that night, my mother's love rose to meet him. She packed all of our stuff into her little Ford Escort, and she drove me to the hotel where she worked. She begged the manager to let us stay in one of the rooms until we found this little apartment in East Austin. There wasn't room for a nursery, so I slept in a crib in her closet. And she was so proud of that closet. She decorated it with toys and pictures. No one was going to tell her it wasn't a nursery. Always bet on the underdog. Like my students, my mom was a fighter. And back then, she looked over at the Texas State Capitol and she saw Texas Democrats like Ann Richards and Bob Bullock fighting for her. And so, when I was 5 years old, she told me we were Democrats. Because, she said, Democrats fight for the people. Now, let's be very honest. We haven't seen that kind of fight from the National Democratic Party in quite a while. But at this critical moment in our nation's history, we need fighters, not folders. Just imagine a Democratic Party that stands up to big money and isn't captured by it. Imagine a Democratic Party that listens to the people, not DC consultants. Imagine a Democratic Party that delivers on housing, healthcare, and education, and actually defeats the right-wing extremists who have taken over this country. National Democrats don't know how to fight. They're comfortable on the coasts, and they're comfortable with the status quo. But there's something about living in a red state that makes you scrappy. Because Texas Democrats know how to fight. Whether it was LBJ pushing the Great Society through Congress, or Barbara Jordan impeaching Richard Nixon, or Wendy Davis holding the floor of the Texas Senate for 13 hours. Or Beto O'Rourke interrupting Greg Abbott's testimony. Or Texas House Democrats breaking quorum to shine a national spotlight. For the people. We know how to fight for the underdog. That's what we do. We fight for the many against the powerful few, no matter how mean or powerful or rich they may be. You know, the more I see what's happening in this state and in this country, the more I think the only minority destroying America is the billionaires. Think about it. Trans people are 1% of the population. Muslims, 1% of the population. Undocumented people, 1% of the population. We are all focused on the wrong 1%.
Yeah, we are.
Trans people are for themselves and their rich friends. It's for billionaires and their puppet politicians. So many of the culture wars in this state and in this country are a smokescreen. The divisions that plague us are manufactured by billionaires who want us fighting each other so we're not fighting them. They want us looking left and right at each other so we're not looking up at them. The people at the top, the Rupert Murdochs, the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Elon Musks of the world, they work so hard to keep us angry and divided because our unity is a threat to their wealth and their power. So their social media algorithms and their cable news networks tear us apart on an hourly, daily, weekly basis. They divide us by party, by race, by gender, by religion, so we don't notice that they're picking our pockets, that they're closing our schools, they're gutting our health care, they're cutting taxes for themselves while they raise taxes on all of us. It's the oldest strategy in the world: divide and conquer. The biggest divide in our politics is not left versus right, it's top versus bottom. They want to keep us from seeing all that we have in common. They want to keep us from realizing that there is far more that unites us than divides us. Because once we do, we will come together across party, across race, across gender, across religion, to take power back for ourselves and our communities. There is something broken in America. Our economy is broken. Our political system is broken. Even our relationships with each other feel broken. And that's because the most powerful people in the world want it that way. My faith teaches me to love my neighbor as myself. Not just my neighbor who looks like me. Not just my neighbor who prays like me. Not just my neighbor who votes like me. I am called to love all of my neighbors the way I love myself. Because despite our many differences, we all want the same things: a safe neighborhood, a good job, a high-quality, well-funded public school, and the ability to see a doctor when we need one. Those billionaires who own the social media algorithms, who own the cable news networks, who own the politicians fighting on our screens, they want us at each other's throats. They want us focused on how we're different instead of focused on how we're the same. I am tired of being pitted against my neighbor. I am tired of being told to hate my neighbor. It's been more than 10 years of this kind of politics. Politics as blood sport. Politics as trolling and owning. Politics as total war. It tears families apart. It ends friendships. And it leaves us all feeling terrible all of the time. As I travel this state, I get the sense that there is a deep, deep hunger for a different kind of politics. Not a politics of fear, not a politics of hate, not a politics of division, but a politics of love. A love that can heal what's broken in America. You know, I probably shouldn't start a political campaign by saying something nice about my opponent. But Colin Allred is a good man. All of us put our faith in him in the last election as our Democratic nominee. And I was out there, along with many of you, trying to help him defeat Ted Cruz. And at the time, I said, Ted Cruz is the worst senator in America. But, looking at the current Republican field in this Senate race, I think that title is up for grabs. Neither John Cornyn nor Ken Paxton deserve the honor of this great state in our nation's capital. Both of them are far more interested in serving their billionaire mega donors than serving the people of this state. Both of them have sold us out time and time again. Ken Paxton's crimes are well known.
Yeah.
I was part of the bipartisan majority in the Texas House that impeached our corrupt Attorney General. You may not believe this, but I think John Cornyn may be even more corrupt than Ken Paxton. Because John Cornyn was the deciding vote on that big, ugly bill that's gonna kick millions of Texans off their health care. It's gonna take food out of the mouths of hungry Texas kids, all to give yet another tax break to his donors. We oftentimes think that corruption is something that's illegal, but corruption is really just the betrayal of the public's trust. It is the abuse of a public office. By casting that deciding vote on that big, ugly bill, John Cornyn committed an act of corruption of the highest order, and he has forfeited his right to represent all of us in the United States. John Cornyn and Ken Paxton both claim to stand for freedom, family, and faith. But you can't stand for freedom and support government censorship of late-night comedians. You can't stand for family and vote against paid family leave, affordable child care, and our neighborhood public schools. And you certainly can't stand for faith and sell out the sick, the poor, and the vulnerable. Amen. To give tax cuts to the rich. John Cornyn and Ken Paxton don't stand for freedom, family, and faith. They stand for cruelty, corruption, and cancel culture. And it's exactly why we have to defeat them in 2026. I want to shoot straight with all of you. We are going up against the political establishment in both political parties. You know, for too long, National Democrats have taken communities like this one for granted. And so people here in the Rio Grande Valley were open to an alternative. In the last election, Republican politicians came here and made big promises. They promised to make everything less expensive. They promised to put working families first. And they promised to drain the swamp. But look at where we are just 1 year later. Everything is more expensive. Working families are falling further behind. And corruption in Washington is the worst it's ever been. It's happening in real time. DC Republicans like John Cornyn are trying to gut our health care, to cut taxes for their donors, and they're willing to shut down the government to do it. That means a mom here in the Valley, working 2 jobs, raising 3 kids, is going to pay more for her premiums so that billionaires can make even more money. Republican politicians made big promises. They promised big change, but they delivered more of the same. If you feel like you've been conned, if you feel like you've been left behind by both political parties, you have a place in this campaign. I want to leave you with one last thought. My granddad was a Baptist preacher here in South Texas. He was born in Bishop. He preached in Corpus, in Port Lavaca. He preached in Laredo. And when I was real little, he told me that we follow a barefoot rabbi who gave just 2 commandments: love God and love neighbor. Because, he said, there is no love of God without love of neighbor. Every single person bears the image of the sacred. Every single person is holy. Every single person counts. This American experiment started with that same self-evident truth that all people are created equal. This democracy of ours is a lot more than a constitution. It's a covenant. It's a relationship between neighbors. It's a promise that we make to each other to share this beautiful country. Those billionaires and their puppet politicians are breaking that sacred promise. And breaking promises in a relationship is not love, it's abuse. And my mom taught me that true love doesn't tolerate abuse. 2,000 years ago, when the powerful few abused the many, that barefoot rabbi walked into the seat of power and flipped over the tables of injustice. His love rose to meet that abuse without becoming it. So to those who love this country, to those who love this state, to those who love our neighbors, it's time to start flipping tables. East side of Austin. It's what my students taught me on the west side of San Antonio. It's what LBJ and Barbara Jordan taught me. It's what Wendy and Beto taught me. And together, that is how we will take back this state and this country.